Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So let me talk to you about this. So years later, a task force is put together to try to solve the cold case of Biggie. And in the process of this, they investigate Keefe D because they're looking into what you had mentioned that you had heard, and a lot of people have heard that Southside could have been involved with Biggie. So they catch Keefe D in this big drug deal, and he's got possession of all this PCP and all this stuff. He then begins to lay out exactly what happened in Vegas with Tupac. At what point did you hear that Keefe D had a proffer agreement, and what were your thoughts on that agreement?
Well, I mean, I heard like everybody else as soon as it came out in Greg Kading's book or whenever it came out after. I didn't hear about it at the time. So all I can go by is what I heard, and my partner Tim Brandon was a part of that task force for a while. And I've talked to the other people that were in the task force, Paul Fournier and Mike Cowett, who are great cops, and they told me a lot that went on in that task force. And from what this kind of fires me up a little bit, because there's no way that Greg Kading can justify giving a proffer immunity agreement. So from what I know, and I could be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but only a U.S. attorney could give a proffer immunity agreement. So here you have this task force, and this is 12 years after Biggie was killed. So what you have here is, in my opinion, one of the biggest celebrity murder cases of all time. Let's face it. Name me a bigger celebrity murder case. That task force knew about Keefe D's involvement in Tupac's murder. You see what I'm saying? And for them to offer him a proffer immunity agreement without contacting Las Vegas PD, who is the handling agency. It's their murder. It wasn't LAPD. Biggie's was LAPD. So you can't sit here and tell me that they didn't know that Keefe D might have something to say about Tupac's murder, the biggest case of the century or whatever. So for them not to contact Las Vegas PD, in my book, is just a no-no. I mean, you just don't do that. You can ask any other homicide investigator if you don't believe what I'm saying, because I'm telling you, if it was my case and I got a call and they said, hey, look, man, we have Keefe D and we got him dirty with some drugs, which I have to commend Kading and them guys. They did a good job getting him dirty. But by the way, we interviewed him on your case and we gave him immunity. You see where I'm going with this? It's just, if that was my case, I'm sorry, but I would go batshit crazy. You did what? And I don't care what your intentions were down the line. If you want to use him as an informant, you want to do this, you want to do that, I don't care. You have to get the agency that's handling the murder involved with the case. So if he starts talking about it, you stop. You get on the horn, man, with Las Vegas. You get him involved. And in my opinion, they should have been involved prior to the interview. But I wasn't there, and that's just my personal opinion. And it just drives me crazy because certain people take credit for stuff, which I don't think they should, because it was Las Vegas's case. And I just don't understand why that took place. I really don't.
Do you think Keefe would have told his side if he didn't have a proffer agreement? Do you feel like, or let me rephrase that. If you were dealing with Keefe at that time and you knew he had been caught with all these drugs and stuff, How would you have tried to get the story out of him without an agreement?
Well, that would have been tough, but it takes a skilled investigator that's handled hundreds and hundreds of cases, probably like somebody like Timmy Brennan, who wasn't involved with it. I mean, who knows? It would have been hard. I don't think he would have said anything without the agreement. But that doesn't really matter, because if Keefe D didn't go shooting off his mouth, Las Vegas could have never went forward with that case unless they got some sort of outside statement or new evidence that came forward in the case. Because whatever he said in that Proffer immunity agreement stood. So it wasn't until he starts shooting off his mouth, and that coupled with all our information about the gang stuff, that they could go forward with the case. Okay, so I mean, they didn't call Mr. Kading to testify. I mean, I think they were highly pissed off at him, because I did talk to some Las Vegas detectives. So I just don't understand the thinking behind that. And some things you got to own, because I see Greg's interview all the time. He's probably a great guy. He speaks very well. He's intelligent, and he's probably a good guy. But there's some things that you got to own, and I guaranteed if somebody would ask him if he would have done that again, he would probably tell you no.
Yeah, that's a good point. What were some of the reactions when he retired and put out the book and then the DVD with the audio of the Keefe D confession? Was there any backlash about that, or that was something to be expected?
Yeah, that was something to be expected. I mean, he's going to do what he did. So, I mean, he owns it. So, I mean, yeah, it didn't really bother us a bit. We kind of knew that was going to happen.
And in your opinion, because a lot of people have kind of harped on this as well, so I just want to get your opinion. Taping and releasing the Proffer agreement, is that legal or illegal?
Well, you would think it wouldn't be. But like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but if I had, based on my experience, I don't think you should release any of that stuff. So, I mean, that should have never been released publicly. So, because again, it wasn't their case. It was Las Vegas PD. I could go around and say, yeah, 27 years ago, we got all this information. It was me. I solved the case. No, Las Vegas solved the case. It's their case. We provided them with, pieces of the puzzle. And they're the ones, because Keefe D shot off his mouth, that they were able to move forward with the case. Thank God. And now it's solved. So.